So we're live and I'm recording, and tell everyone what the heck we're going to do here today.
I mean, we're going to really do an audit on your website to start the process of correcting your SEO issues.
Mistakes. The right word is mistakes. I'll own them, and you know we'll talk about this in a little bit. But it already cost me 10 grand to not get it fixed.
Yeah, that's
by the way they were doing it. I mean, you saw my numbers where they tanked a year ago, over a year ago, 2 years ago, and that was what you're going to recommend. Is I absolutely agree, and I know that the errors are all there because I've had more than one audit done where more than one SEO guy has pointed out to me that they're wrong, and I know it, and that's why I had hired this company. Which you've gotten some clients to come over to you. We won't mention names, but you know, it didn't get done 10 grand later.
So, I mean, the problem is, right, you know, especially like with your website, and we see this a lot with other companies, is how big the website is.
Right.
And it's a tough pill to swallow to go like, hey, we're going to have to scratch like 95% of the stuff that's really hindering the movement of your website.
Right.
At the end of the day, because why? I mean, how many hours have you, Franklin, have you spent writing blogs for your?
Man, thousands.
And I'm going to tell you to scratch a lot of that. I mean,
I know. We went from being an information site to offering a lot of information to a lot of clients for a lot of different reasons, and to making it more of a sales site where it's a sales and marketing site.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're looking at. And I think, you know, we realize a lot of it we're going to scratch. The other challenge is what we discussed, which we'll look at a couple of different options, is that 65% of our market is Hispanic. It's a unique market where not a lot of people experience that. We just can't say no to that business if they don't speak any Spanish. And there's a couple of roadblocks that I have to do that. And we discussed doing 2 sites.
Well, yeah, having a site that like they can cross over to
right
Hispanic, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And then I'll you know, we'll tackle that because I got a couple of questions on that one and concerns.
Yeah, I mean, well, we're far from that.
Okay.
You know, I mean, we are really, really far from that. Yeah. So the biggest thing is your website at some point. Well, one, identifying your market, right? I remember like a long time ago here in Atlanta when I started my pest control company, and I saw an Asian guy, pest control guy, but all his text on his truck was in, I don't know, Korean, Chinese. I don't know what the language is, but it was in a whole different language. And I was like, hot dog, I bet you that guy is killing it in that market. Right. I mean, because, you know, it's comfortable for someone to come to a person's website that can actually speak that language and know what they're actually getting or what they're signing into. Now, the cool thing is that you do have an Hispanic background. So do I. I forgot how to speak Spanish a long, long time ago, but you are still fluent in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, you have one market share just in the Hispanic market, but you also have this massive share in the natural side of that market, where it's like, it's not necessarily about, you know, catering to a different culture. It's catering to everybody who's actually looking for a natural alternative when it comes to pest control. So that's where we need to figure out, like, okay, yes, you do have a Hispanic market. How large is that compared to how your natural side of things? Right. And so what we'll find is we'll find that your natural market's a lot larger compared to what your Hispanic market is, even though that they're there. It's just, you know, there are people who want pest control and they just want natural. And then there are people who just need pest control, you know?
Right.
So
The majority of calls that I get on the American side, it's about 80-20, where they're looking for that eco-friendly, because that's why they called me, because they were actually searching and they found me under eco-friendly, natural, organic, because that's what they were searching for. Where the Hispanic side, I would say it's probably 60-40, where I convert them the sale to that eco-friendliness, because they're just calling in wanting pest control service, but they'll say, well, is it safe for my dog because I got a dog? Then that's where I take that opportunity to sell them on their eco-friendliness of our service, but they're not necessarily looking for that. I just come up because I rank number 1 and 2 for all the Spanish keywords.
right. Which, if nobody's in your market nobody in your market doing that, that's ideal, right?
I only have one other, and I'm still beating him out. And and all he does is Spanish. He doesn't do English.
Yeah. So, and then what's the natural market in your area?
As far as what, like a market share?
Yeah. Like, what do you think your market share is?
Man, I still think I'm in the single digits of people actually looking for that.
How many competitors do you think you have?
In the actual space that are actually competing, I would say 3.
3? Okay.
Yep, three that are actually competing in that market for that arena.
Okay.
And they're actually ranking for it too.
Yeah.
Now, everybody else is, the number of competitors that have popped up with the name Eco and, stuff like that in their name has, tenfolded since I started, but they're not actually competing because they're not coming up.
Right. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at a few things real quick. All right. You want me to share my screen?
Yeah, go ahead. All
right. Oh, you got it disabled.
Oh, no, hold on. Let me screen share. We're on your side.
No, you just have to do a screen share on yours and then say allow allow.
Oh, okay. Multiple participants. Yeah, here we go. There you go. You should be able to do it.
All right, let's do this. All right, perfect.
Yeah.
There you are. All right, let's drag this down. All right, so that is your website, right?
Yep.
Okay. So let's see how it looks when we scale down. Do you want people to call you?
Yeah, and that number should be like top front up there. And I don't know why it's not showing up anymore. And it should be the click to get a quote. We're getting a lot of that. That's cramped up since I modified a lot of this.
That right here?
Yep, that's popping up real quick now, where I'm getting a ton of those. Before I wasn't. I want to scale that down a bit to be more marketing driven, where I just get their name and email.
You need really just 4: their name, their street number, their zip code, and email address, or phone number. Is that? Yeah. So phone number, email, then their name and their address, and that's all that you need.
Right.
Because you got to think, at the end of the day, like right here, if you're going to be targeting natural clients, you don't have to address that. They're going to disclose that anyways when they're talking.
Yeah. One of the things that I was doing is I got to the point where I really couldn't even handle calls anymore. There were so many things going on for a while when I did that. Oh, it didn't adjust back. That's weird. Okay, there it goes. That I literally needed that information just to text back a quote. We're literally texting people back, here's your price. Because I wasn't able to enter into a lot of the conversations like I can now, or like you could before. So I need to change
language. Is that what you're saying?
Like, no. That like literally I couldn't. I was so bogged down with all the personal stuff that I was dealing with. Mm-hmm. I literally would text you back, and if you said okay, I would write it up and send the tech. I didn't even bother engaging in a conversation at that point.
Okay.
I mean, that's literally how bad it got.
I like engaging in conversation.
Yeah.
Because, you never know. Like, I know here.
No, now I do. Now I can do it, but it gives me a lot of info. So I know immediately to get back to them. We still close a ton of this business via text. it seems like that's becoming more of the so when I get one of these in, I just pick up the phone and I call them. But a lot of people will not answer. Like it's 3-4 calls later. Yeah. So I just send them.
I'm
I
listening.
write.
Sorry, someone's at the front door, but I'm listening.
Yeah. So I write it up and I just write up the quote. I text it to them. I also set it up in Pest Route, send the contract, and we get it back. And then we try to follow up with the call later. But most of the time, you call them back after they filled out the form. You can't even get them on the phone here in Miami.
Yeah.
And the Hispanic audience has gotten worse. You would think that it would, like, literally, if you don't answer your phone when they call, they don't want to send a text. They want to talk to somebody on the phone right now because they're older, and that older population just doesn't want to do the texting or whatever.
Right.
So in any case, those are the ones that we really don't even end up selling because the price is outrageous for them.
Yeah. No, I get it. So, yeah, I mean, so just as far as like when I'm looking at your website right now,
Yeah.
we can get into like the user experience and everything.
It's horrible. I know it is.
Yeah. I mean, it's like I don't even know where to call you from.
Right. No, I mean, it used to be on top right-hand corner to call or click or text because they could call or text us from that number. And I don't know why it's not showing up now.
Yeah. Well, so like I remember one time, like when I was doing it, I removed my phone number as well because I was like, I'm just done with all these phone calls, and they can text or email.
Yeah.
If they want.
That's where I've gotten to, but just the older population just won't do it. They need that conversation, and I got to do it if I want the business.
What's your closing rate on that older population now?
About 20%.
So, I mean, it's like,
it's like, do I turn it? Do I take the risk and like gamble and say, screw it, or do I still say, yeah, because they're about 6-minute conversations. I mean, I already know when that 80-year-old lady calls me, who's Cuban, and she's like, mijo, que I have la cucaracha, and I'm like, okay, it's $300. I know, and that's done. I mean, so that's really the extent of it.
Yeah.
There's not too much that I worry about.
It's like this guy keeps ringing my doorbell. All right. So, yeah. So like, if we look at your website, it's massive, man. It is. There's so many web pages.
Right. And then every time we publish a video, we create a page for it. Every time we publish a pod, because we have a separate podcast for that's not Pest Geek, that's in there, but it's only in there. And people are listening to it because they'll come across it. So we create a page for every piece of content we create.
Now, do you, is that measurable? Like that people who, when they find like your podcast or video or something like that they're actually contacting you from it?
Yes.
You have a way to measure that?
Yes. We're measuring the YouTube, which is where I get most of my, believe it or not, most of my lawn and ornamental. There are people out there looking for a solution for their plant. They realize it's too damn difficult. Let me just call this guy.
Right.
So even when my SEO went down, I figured out that my YouTube was still providing calls, even though our site went down. So I say it's probably about 20% of my business comes from YouTube alone.
Okay.
Yep. We were now starting to get more from Facebook, but like I said, I'm not doing any additional work other than I post it through an app, and it doesn't let us do, so I don't spend a whole ton of time on that.
Right. So, what are your top 3 services that you sell?
Ant control, roach control are the top 2. German roach control for apartments is 50.
Cockroach control?
Yeah, the German cockroach control is about 30% of our business for
That's
apartments.
German cockroach, but you said that people are calling you for like American roaches?
American roaches, residential homes, probably American roaches would probably be about 40%, and then ants is our biggest call.
Okay, so ant control, cockroach for residential.
Yep, and yeah, American roaches for residential, large roaches. Yeah.
When I say cockroach control, I'm referring to American cockroaches.
Yeah.
And then ant control, cockroach control.
That's probably 50% of our business.
And then what's the other big one?
German roach in apartments.
In apartments. Okay, so we would tuck that somewhere else.
We get about 30. That's about 30. Then usually that's our big Hispanic market because they're apartment renters, and the landlords aren't doing a darn thing about it, so they got to call us.
What about mosquito?
Mosquito is very small right now. It's about 5-6% of our business because we have so many franchises competing in that arena. So the only clients that we do mosquito for are our clients.
Okay.
That we convert and we say, hey, we upsell it.
What about your turf care?
Turf care in total, it's about 40% of our total business.
So that's another one of big services, right?
Yeah. Turf care. Yeah. Lawn care and ornamental care. Ornamental is actually way over, like palm care, palm treatments. We do a ton of that. So lawn itself is a very small part. It's mostly ornamental, but yes, it's in that green, that lawn care arena.
Okay. All right. So let's see what we got going on as far as your website. All right. So basically what we're going to look at now is we're going to look at like your SERPs, right? Your search engine ranking positions, how people are finding your website, right? So all the software that we use, Google releases all this data for free, right?
Right.
That's why, like the software we purchase, they're really just pulling all those SERPs, but they've fine-tuned that as far as making it easier for like people like me to kind of research and see what's going on with your website or finding these opportunities for you, right? So when I look at your website, well, first I look at your website, it looks, and this is one of the biggest problems, right? With a lot of SEO companies is they'll look at your stuff and they go, man, look, you got an average of 5,000 clicks per month, which is ranking at 40,000, estimate, of it, right? So this right here, that number is, what you would pay at the end of the day, if you were like doing like pay per click or whatever. All right. So, I mean, we just look at like this and we go, it's all good growth, right? So it's like, when we look at this, you go, okay, we're doing an excellent job, right? These are, and until we look at like that, which, 10,000. So anytime I see like 10,000 clicks on a pest control website, a small pest, like a local pest control company, I'm like, oh my God, there's something major wrong with it, right? Nobody should be getting 10,000 clicks at the end of the day. Here's your 1 year value or your 1 year data. So, right here, your estimate monthly SEO click one in March was $173,000. Right. So when we look at this, we go, okay, 21,000 keywords, all of this is, we're doing phenomenal. But these numbers aren't really necessarily telling you the truth of like what people are searching for or how they are finding you. Right. And so when I compare like my websites that we do with our customers to somebody else, my numbers look horrible until you look at what the actual intent of the website is, right?
Right.
This is all these numbers that people get to see on the front end really does a disservice to you, or even a disservice to your organization and the company. You go, okay, they're getting us, we're getting ranked, we're just not necessarily getting phone calls. Well, there's a very reason why you're not getting phone calls. And we believe that, one, we have to be a good steward of people's finances. They're investing in us.
Right.
And at the end of the day, when they're investing, is we say they're investing in growth. They're not necessarily investing in numbers like, this 40,000 SEO clicks. They're investing in the 40,000 that they can gain from their SEO, right?
Right.
So if we look at your keywords, we go, there's a ton of keywords that you have: organic pest control near me, do it yourself, German cockroach, do ants carry disease? And then we're going to look at your top pages. Okay. So now this is where like the truth of what your SEO is going to, it's going to tell you the true story of what's actually happened, what's happening on your website. Where are your SEO? Okay. So like you got your nature pest articles here, you got your blog posts here, you have another blog post here. And then we have finally, we got your homepage, right? So this intent, and this intent, I'm going to say, if I really dig through it, it's all about people looking for information, not looking for an actual service.
Right.
Now, what we look here, we go, okay, your homepage, people are looking for service, but how much has your blogs influenced your homepage on the ranks? Like, what's that intent look like, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to kind of just look at some things that's happening. So you got organic pest control near me. That's legit, right? Natural pest control, legit.
Yep.
Pest control near me, legit. Nature pest, they're looking for you. Natural pest control, legit. Nature pest control, legit. I mean, they might be looking for you on that. Nature's pest control, they're probably looking for you on that. So these, they all, I would say they know you. It's up in the air. They know you right here, and it's legit, right? So, I mean, your SEO clicks aren't bad. I mean, but if you look at it, 55 SEO clicks for organic pest control near me, but you had a 41% or 41 click jump on organic pest control, which is good, right? But it just shows you what your numbers were last month, right?
That's when it took. That's when I called you when they took a dump, and I'm like, dude, I'm paying an SEO company. Why did my numbers all of a sudden just everything took a dump? Now they fixed it, but it went back up again. But it literally, we went to like nothing in clicks.
Yeah,
it was an error somewhere, and I think it might have been that, Google, a new algorithm that they threw out, and my site was screwed up.
When did it take a dump? Like in mid-September?
Yeah, it just all of September was horrible for us.
Yeah. So Google had an update called the helpful user update, and it was like a 2-week update. And then, but September 7th was like that was a scary day because a lot of things kind of took a hit. But what Google is doing is Google wants to get relevant content to the people that's searching, right? So they realized that Bing has Bing keeps growing in their searches, and I think they gained like 7%. And yes, Google is growing, but they're still losing data right now. So they're kind of like one of those pest control companies. They got to go, all right, we got to find new users to grow, but we also have to have more users to counter what we lost as well, right? So they're playing that weird sales game. And so, but because what do you see like on Facebook? You see a lot of people asking, hey, who's the pest control near you? Why? They can't find anybody anymore, right? They're finding a bunch of lead generation companies. So if someone goes on Home Visors, they're going to take you through this trickle down effect, and people are going to lose interest, or people don't even believe in the lead generation company. You know how many people got burned by companies that came in, built a business on the lead gen aspect of everything, right? And then completely failed, right? Because you go out there, you meet their demand, everything is great. You you give them a 5-star review,
right?
And then they go, well, I can't get in touch with that guy anymore, right? So I mean, it's had negative effects. You look at like things like there's a bunch of lead generation companies that have been around that have come and gone. Home Advisors has come, it's here. They'll eventually disappear, but Thumbtack, it's the same way because people lose trust in that 5-star rating. Because in the home service industry, for some reason, that's the biggest one where people are getting burned.
Yeah.
And so, like, if you look at like, what was it? Groupon was the big thing, and that it blew up. And then what happened to it? Well, people were getting burned, right? They would pay for something. They weren't going to get they weren't necessarily getting the service that they were trying to sign up for. Why is this guy keep coming to my door. I don't even know who he is. Oh, that's the Amazon guy now.
Oh, I was gonna say it's probably the local pest control door-to-door guy that, you know.
Yeah, they come here a lot. So, but so Google knows that like people are like going next door, they're going on Twitter, whatever, they're finding, companies on Facebook, things like that. So they got to go, well, what was happening is that they started realizing that the users weren't getting the things that they needed, right? So they're
Right.
doing like major like house cleaning. And so when you look at like how Google like looks at like the different ways people look for your service, right? So they grade you like on transaction, they grade you on navigation. So like something like pest control near me would fall into the navigation just because of near me. They would look at knowledge base, and then they would look at commercial base, right? Did I say it? Commercial, knowledge, navigation, transactional, right? And your big ones are going to be like your commercial, your navigation, and your transactional, right? These are people looking for either they're Googling your name, which is going to fall into transaction. They're going to go pest control near me, which is going to fall into navigation, transaction, or they're looking for natural pest control, which then falls into that that commercial, that commercial aspect, right? And then anything else like, how do you kill, how do you, what do you, who does this, all of that stuff, that's going to fall into knowledge base, right? We see a lot of companies out there where it's like 95% of their websites like knowledge based. Actually take a look over here real quick. So you got like, 67% informational, 2% navigational, commercial, and transactional. Okay. So, and we'll come back to that, right? So now let's look at your SEO clicks. All right. Weed killer, irrelevant. What do ladybugs eat? Irrelevant at the end of the day.
I have no idea because I never wrote anything on ladybugs. I don't know how I'm ranking for that.
Well, you got bugs in there, you got eat in there, you got what do, you might not necessarily have ladies in there, but what it's doing, it's trying to identify what your website is and put that stuff in front of their users, right? They need to cater to their users to avoid losing their customers or losing their customers to another platform or whatever.
Right.
So your SEO company could have done this as well. Who knows? But
I doubt it, sincerely.
Well, there's ways of finding it. So palm tree snapped in half, edge pest control, that's the competitor, serve length of weevil treatment. So now you're getting what looks like you're getting is actually like a lot of backlinks coming to your website, which is actually affecting it. Western Exterminate, that's a West Coast company.
Yeah.
Isn't that the guy with the big like hammer?
Yeah, I haven't seen him. Thor?
No, like Western or no.
Oh.
They had like a big hammer. Didn't Western have a Nintendo NES game? I
don't know.
There's a company that had that.
Oh.
So we look at all these and we go, man, these are all irrelevant. Here we go. Long tail, franchise. How do you kill giants? These are all just at the end of the day information. And you finally, we got something. Here's Nature's Pest Control. There you go. You got that. So let's look at like what has been dropping real quick. SEO rank. Okay, so these are your new things that are starting to rank. Pest Control Live Oak are you in Live Oak, Florida?
No, they could be looking for live oak trees because we got a lot of them.
All right.
I have no idea where Live Oak is. I had no idea we had a city named Live Oak.
Sylvester Palm Strand. Bro, you got a crap ton of, there you go. Pest Control, Tamarack, Florida. That's a good one. Is it?
Yep. That's Tamarack. That's in Broward.
All right. So, well, that's a new one. So, you start rank, your end rank is at 32. So that would sit there and say, oh, wait, nope, sorry. You're right here. 100 88. Plus 88. So not as good as a movement as this palm plant health fertilizer.
Right.
And then we really don't know what that volume looks like yet, whether you're going to pursue that. So now let's go back to your top pages again, real quick. Let's look at this bad boy. 729 keywords on your homepage. That is a lot, my man. All right. Organic pest control. Volume. Okay.
So yeah, holistic pest solution is one that I've been writing for because I knew that keyword would become good. So that's one.
So, I mean, a lot of these are really good. What the heck? John, get off the account. Sorry, I think one of my guys was trying to bump me.
Yeah, shared accounts.
Well, we keep like trying to work it. The user experience on the billing sucks, man. So, all right. Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of these look good, and you got the volume, you got the clicks that are coming in, natural exterminator near me. So you should be like killing it.
Yeah, I mean, this is generating for me right now, SEO alone like this, without me doing anything, 144 new calls a month, just from this alone.
Okay.
This is what it's generating. And the whole idea is that I need that to double or triple. Realistically in the next, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, so we can get more of the business. But
right.
I'm getting I literally get one call a month that from somebody saying, hey, I saw your blog on this to buy this. A lot of this stuff, we have it and we're ranking for it because we're an affiliate marketer for Do My Own. So, we make money off that blog when they click and buy the product if they don't want to use us because they're not even near us.
Right. But that has its own place.
Yeah. So I'm thinking if we separate it,
and it doesn't belong on here.
If we can do a blog maybe separate to that.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you got that volume coming in, then that for sure needs to be its own little thing, man. Because what you're doing is you're creating
cannibalizing.
An issue. Is this a home service company? Is this an informational page at online store? Right. Is this, can it be e-commerce? So it's putting you into these little things, right? So like the DIYs, it's got a great place for it somewhere else, just not here. It is like basic, it's killing your website. So are you familiar with you got pruning, but are you familiar with espalier pruning? Espalier pruning is really cool, right?
Okay.
Take like if you have a full mature peach tree, and you don't prune it or at all on it, it will produce, but it's going to be more susceptible to virus, more susceptible to diseases, and it's going to produce less and less fruit as it gets older. And then the health of that or the age of it will drastically decline. Now, if you do an espalier version, which you can create an espalier version that's like 5 feet tall, and it's got 6 branches. It's got its trunk, 6 flat branches that come off, and that's it. It will produce more fruits in a year. It will be less susceptible to diseases. It's going to allow more espalier plants to be planted around it. So you can actually, instead of having one big tree, you can have a dozen trees that take up that same amount of square footage as one big mature tree. Right. And what you're doing is that you're diverting the energy where the energy needs to be produced, which is in the fruits, right? So it goes out the trunk and then it splits the duties between 3 or 6 branches.
Right.
And so all that nutrients, all that water, and then the photosynthesis stage and stuff like that, all of that, it takes in like 100% of all that. Right.
Oh, it makes perfect sense. Yeah. I'm cannibalizing my transactional side over to the informational side, and it's getting cannibalized.
Yeah, and this is a common thing with a lot of people, right? They go, well, you need the visitors to get the value on your website. That is not true. That's not true. So the biggest thing is when it comes to SEO, it's about intent. Like, what is the intent on everything that you're doing when you're dropping in the information, and how is that going to add value to the users, right? So that's
Right.
the biggest thing is you got to think, like, a lot of people go, how can I add value to this website? But at the end of the day, it's like, how can I add value and to put everything on a platter for the users that come and find us, right? And so what we're doing is we're changing the dynamics of your website, and we're changing the intent of your website. And so when Google sees that there are people visiting your website from a city, it increases your chances of ranking up higher. It helps with your
Right.
Google My Business listing.
Right.
But if you put information out there, like going the safe route, right, putting blogs out there, I can get 5,000-10,000 clicks on people's websites. That is easy. At the end of the day, is it going to serve the actual purpose of growing their company? No, it will not.
Yes. When I first started doing this, all the information that was focused on was, hey, you need domain authority, you need traffic, but now everything has shifted to more local, and everything is shifting to local where it's not relevant, or in other words, how much domain authority do you really need to rank in your city, because it's all about the localness of it.
Right.
Not necessarily that you're ranking for all these terms where we have a huge domain authority for what we have. And I think that traffic is useful for me because we're creating a product that we can actually sell to these people, that they're going to be wanting it. So that's why I would say, okay, if we take all that out and we lose all that traffic and we focus it just on the local traffic, what we're generating, and making it more of a commercial website or transactional website versus informational, that's what we're leaning to, if I'm hearing you correctly.
Yeah. So there's a great book out there. I can't remember who the writer is, but it says Marketers Ruin Everything. Right.
I know Gary V said that a couple of times.
Because it's like, when something's good, everybody wants to jump into it, like the lead gen, right? The lead generation industry, like, it started out with one, and everyone's like, oh, we can make money off this. And then they infiltrated Google, right? So Google's always changing because marketers ruin everything. You have, like,
I have one here who has 37 locations that don't exist. They don't have a license. They're not registered with agriculture. They're marketing themselves as a pest control company, and all they are is a lead gen company. And they're selling. They're
against Google's guidelines.
Yeah, so I reported them all because literally had 37 locations that don't exist.
I ruin a lot of people's lead gens for sure, because my job is to make sure that we get companies ranked, and if there is lead gen sites that, unfortunately, guys, if you're out there and you pay for someone and they get Google My Business and they're gone, chances are it's me, because it's my job to make sure that we rank our customers to the path of least resistance, right? So if we have, get my customers like ranked in the top 3, and let's say I got 2 lead gens in front of me before I can even get into that top 3, I'm wiping them out. I'm going to wipe them out, because it's against Google guidelines, and 2, it's like, seriously, man, if you're going to be dirty in that industry, then you're going to just be dirty everywhere else, right? You're just taking shortcuts. If you're taking shortcuts here, you're taking shortcuts at your companies, because those things aren't cheap. The lead gen is not cheap, right? They take your measured data, and if you're not going to use them, they go, well, hey, so and so is not going to pay for the increase, but this is what he was getting, and we'll give it to you at this. And they're like, I will get it, but those things.
For those people listening to us who have no clue what the heck we just talked about, like, I had a guy here who's a local competitor, and he decided he couldn't rank, he couldn't do ads. He just bought at least one of those sites that was ranking. All they did is change his name to it and the phone number where he's getting the calls. And that guy decided he's going to rank a website in my city when he doesn't even have a company, just to lease the site out.
Right.
Yeah, and that's what they do.
It's a dirty industry, for sure. And it's unethical, but at the same time, it's like, if you're not building, your foundation at your main hub, you're going to get left behind.
Right.
There are companies, again, that I've seen grow off of lead gen using like Thumbtack, Home Advisors, things like that. And then when that stuff started to dwindle for them, they were caught literally with their pants around their ankles going, I don't know what to do next, because they invested no time in their branding or online ranking, right? So when those things dried up, or when people abandoned Thumbtack or whatever, it's like, what are they going to do now? You know?
Right.
And so if they don't have a presence online, it's like they're in trouble.
Yeah, that's why I've been so protective about it, and I get so irate when these things happen, because I'm like, dude, I'm supposed to be paying you to keep an eye on this,
Right.
and then fix it as we go, or whatever we have to do. So that's why I've been like having fits of rage when it doesn't happen.
Right. Yeah. And you should, right? You're investing in it almost like like a stockbroker, because, and the goal is what? To make money, right? You're investing in an SEO company, and the goal is what? To make money. That's what their job is to do, is to make money for you, not to just get, build your online authority up. All right. So yeah, so what was it? It was like 76, or I can't remember what the percentage of information was. But yeah, so this is all your information. All right, big roaches, big cockroach, temperate. These are all like, when I look at this, I go, this is all irrelevant. Now, there might be a place down the road to do like something about like large cockroaches, but at the end of the day, the data really doesn't necessarily show that, like, hey, that's ideal for me. It's actually converting something for you, right? Yeah. So so why waste all that energy into something that's not going to help generate revenue, right?
Right.
And that's the same way. Like when we build a website, we don't want to put all the energy in things that aren't going to work. So we'll create the hub first, and then once we get the data, then we can start making things happen, and we can start making we can make things snowball.
Right.
For it to keep moving. Okay. So this is your navigational. So Nature Pest, right? So that's your company name. I don't know what that says. I mean,
that's the basic fumigators in Miami. That's a buying keyword. That's that's a buying keyword, because that's what we're ranking for in Spanish for people looking for a Spanish pest control company.
Right. So you have so that's legit Natural Pest Control Miami, because it's got the city name. But see, now you got confusion again, right? Do your own pest control, do your own pest control, excluder. So this is all becoming really, really muddy between what's relevant to your service company and then what's relevant to your DIY system, right?
See, some of those keywords, I have no idea why I'm ranking for them, because I haven't even intentionally tried to rank for that. A lot of those, like tranquil waters, I have no idea, pool service, how that ends up in my.
Let's see. Wait. I mean, you probably have it somewhere, or you're just kind of dancing around the same topic. Or, again, Google's trying to find a place where they can put you,
Got it. So yeah, just it's an irrelevant search query.
You're making Google, and at the end of the day, you're making Google try to find where to put you, essentially.
Right.
Right.
And a lot of these old city pages, we rank for them, but I want to rewrite them because they were just bad from we started.
Right. And this is the big thing you got to understand, right? Like, okay, you go, I can't eliminate my city pages. You go, well, right now, Franklin, your city pages aren't doing squat for you, right? So it's okay to just scrap it, start fresh.
Yeah. Some of them were really ranking in those cities, believe it or not, on organic for all those city pages.
And then we get to that, right? So the ones that are actually doing well, you need to carry that over to your new start, right? So when you create the hub, you want to take the pages that are great, that are actually working for you, and carry that domain, that URL and everything over to the next one, right?
Right.
So that you don't lose any traction on that. If it doesn't really have traction, you just scrap it, and then you can utilize it somewhere else out of your massive inventory of content.
Right.
So even your navigational is kind of wonky. So let's go to your commercial real quick. So let's see what's going on here. See how people are finding you. Come on. Natural pest control, good. Nope, not good. That's you. Now, is that like a product?
Yep.
Or is that like,
Nope, that's actually a transactional keyword.
what
Yeah,
are
that's
the companies
yeah.
that do
They're
communication?
basically it's the equivalent of pest control company near me.
Okay, cool. Okay, good.
Yeah, yeah.
Legit.
Legit,
Okay.
yeah.
No, yeah, companies
Yeah. Yep.
near me, essentially.
Yep.
Nature's Pest Control, that's probably you. Natural Pet, probably you. Legit. Nope. If that's a city.
Yep. That's that. We're trying to rank there. So that's definitely a big city we're trying to rank in.
So, you got a volume of 110, but if you capitalize on that, that's awesome. And a keyword difficulty of 2. So it's super easy. And so this is kind of like things that you look for when you're like launch hub or whatever, right? So Tiny Ants, Florida, nah. Pest control quote, sure. Christmas palms, nah, get that stuff out, get that crap out, and then start just clipping everything that you can, right?
Right.
If mosquito control thing is a thing for you, utilize it. But right now, does your mosquito season slow down?
It slows down a bit, yeah, during the winter, but only for a couple months.
So you're kind of going on that slow end. So I would sit there and say, maybe just, focus on your pest control side of things. And then as the season starts, or, prior to the season, you can start dropping some, your mosquito stuff, things that are going to be relevant, right? So cheap pest control, get that crap out of here. I don't want anything.
I don't even know how I rank for that.
Well, again, you're probably
there's probably an article. Oh, got it.
That's an article, right? So again, now you see what you've done,
right? So I created a demand for myself by
crap. It says nothing about premium, but cheap, yeah, for sure. So, all right. So again, like it's 50-50 now. Transactional. This is going to be probably maybe a lot of people that are Googling you. Let's see real quick. Or product, like they're looking to buy a product.
See, that's my number one keyword.
What does this mean?
They're looking for the equivalent of pest control.
Okay. So you got position 1, volume 590, and it's keyword difficulty is 19. But if we look at natural pest control near me, you got 590. Natural pest control Miami for see right here, Ryobi.
Yeah, I know how that's starting to happen, because my guy started posting all the videos that we do on we'll do some stuff and then we'll redo it for this audience. And I think we need a pest control blog that's separate from my.
We pretty much figured that out.
That's what it is.
Need to happen. Now, real quick, you said on your Hispanic clientele that call, it's a closing rate of 20%.
Yeah, about right now. Yeah.
And what's the closing rate for natural?
If it's usually the American audience, like 80%, so it's reversed.
And which ones are the path of least resistance to be profitable, like the Hispanic market or the natural market?
The natural market is much easier because I have very little competition. I have a niche. The other one, like I said, I'll spend 6 minutes and I just explain our scope of a service, quote the price. They either want it or they don't. I don't even bother to follow up or waste any time. So it's still 30% of my business total in the Hispanic. Right. So that's what's hard to give up. It's
it is hard to give up, but if you capitalize on the natural market, it will fill in the things you're missing on the Hispanic side too, as well.
yeah.
And again, the path of least resistance, right? If they're the easiest and you could be the most profitable, great. That's the way you go. Then you have like a little section of that. That's, what I like to call like, like marketing dollars or whatever, right? Like you have all these little big side projects that aren't necessarily going to have reoccurring revenue, but it's good to get those $500, $600, $700 jobs in one at a time that can be utilized, earmarked for like marketing purposes, where your natural pest control is like more of your stabilizer of the company. So they both have their own part in the company.
Right.
So you can identify. Now, what month or in year do you think it was like my website was like doing phenomenal? You have like
December of last year. I know, yeah, because the numbers were just there.
Let's see.
We had a phenomenal month in December.
Yeah, I mean, and it's still like, did it not change it? Hold on. Yeah. So again, right, you're transactional. So your transactional is like, is muddying up everything to do it yourself.
Right. Because we look at what I do is I look at the total number of website clicks. I don't have time to drill down into a whole lot. So what I do is I look and say, okay, when our SEO numbers go up, the calls automatically come in and our revenue automatically jumps.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I believe it.
That's it. So that's the only matrix I've had. I've gotten more intentional in the last 6 months of saying, how much is Google My Business sending me directly? How much is coming through the website? How many of our online forms are getting filled out? That's on the increase. And then it just took a dump in September.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. September was again, that was kind of a crappy month just because of the
right
update.
I was attributing the beginning of the month where, okay, because a lot of our apartment people didn't call because, hey, they got to buy it was back to school month. They had to spend $1,000 for their kids. It slowed down. I had a lot of people tell me their business slowed down, a lot of the local guys. Everybody was telling me. So I said, okay, but then I look at the number. I said, no, that doesn't look right the way it just, went crashing down. It didn't look right. Like that was just normal traffic, because I know what traffic I've been getting for the last 3 years. The funny part is that my calls, like I said, I'm paying my SEO guy, and I said, look at the last 3 years of data. This is the number of calls I get. This is the amount of business I close. These are the new initials I close. This is how much revenue I produce. The only reason I'm doing more revenue is because I increased my prices 30% over 19. But you're not generating that many calls for me for what you're doing. And what do we have to do? So this is the third time I've asked him, what do I got to do to get it fixed? Which I just had this conversation. I said, listen, he says, I'm working on it, because they're busy, because they're looking after, how do I get a $600 a month person just for local GMB, rank them number 1 on GMB for a 3-mile radius. And that's how I make my money. Because that's easy. Because that's it. I send you a report and you're impressed. It says, I can't do any money with a 3-mile radius around me. I'm not a dentist.
I mean, so yeah, and your SEO goes hand in hand. Your SEO on your website helps out with your Google My Business, right? Again, if there's an identity issue, then there is no help on your Google My Business, right? So then you're solely dependent on Google Business to do all that heavy lifting.
Right.
And you don't want that, right? Again, because like my belief, right? And I know that I am not everyone's freaking cup of tea, and I don't give a damn, right?
Right.
But at the end of the day, it's like, everything has to be done with an intent. We just don't throw things out there and hope it sticks, right?
Right.
Again, it's not being a good steward of your money, right? And so at the end of the day, it's like every morning when I wake up, I'm looking at everybody's data, all my customers' data, seeing what's working, see or some of the opportunities that we can go in and help get them ranked as well, right?
Right.
So, and what we got is we see like a lot of our customers, like their intent, like of what people are looking for the services, it's completely flipped compared to like yours and everybody else, right? Their intent is like at 80%, like, and like 9%, like, or, you know, like in the 10% is like their informational stuff, where it's like, maybe I need to do a quick bio on Argentine ants or whatever, because there's some keywords that I need to lock in there, like ants or you know, ant trails or whatever. And I throw that stuff onto people's website. But at the end of the day, it's like Google still identifies that website as a home service company that's locally. Okay. So again, so that means that we have a much larger reach of people, like a much larger reach in such a small area, right? Because again, you know, if we're focusing on like one city and we're getting 200 something per clicks a month just in that city, think about the profits that they're generating. Think about like the condensed route that they could be making compared to like going, all right, we're going to send you another 45 minutes out for what, 1 or 2. Let that stuff like naturally and organically grow, and then take everything that you have like in that little hub that has value and utilize that to help carry over your reach when you start expanding your operations into like other little cities. You know, like right. I would say, you know, my first couple of years in pest control, about 70% of all our customers were in one little city called Decatur. I mean, it was awesome because I can get a lot done. They were the best customers ever. I mean, they're all natural, right? And what do we know about natural customers? They won't bat an eye when if you're 30% more than the traditional pest control companies, right? Yeah. So that's what I focused on, instead of like going, I'm going to go everybody toe to toe, or just like, you know, I'm going to go toe to toe against everybody online. Why? Like, I mean, that's not even the path of least resistance, right? If I'm battling the same keywords, it's like, that's a lot of work to go over that, right? And so what happens is like, maybe authority wins, maybe their history wins, who knows? But there are opportunities when it comes to like pest control or whatever that you can find where you can add value. And sometimes it's just plugging yourself into like a little hub, into a little city, and grow the dynamics out on that and gain Google's trust, build your authority locally, and then you can start spreading out beyond that, you know? Right. Or, you know, like there's all kinds of things, user experience, or like, can they identify with you, whatever, you know, all that stuff plays a massive part as well. Like, how do we retain customers online? How do we make them memorable if they're visiting a couple of other companies? A lot of that stuff plays online as well. But right now we're just kind of focused on just a really small aspect, which is your SEO.
Yeah.
All right. So that is that. I mean, again, you know, it's just everything based off volume. I mean,
yeah, and the reason I haven't cared,
come to terms knowing that you're gonna remove all of this, right?
I am. It's kind of like a hoarder, you know. But the only reason I kept it and I didn't care is because I get so many calls. As I was watching your blog and I was reading your blog, and I decided it's just not worth it. You're the most knowledgeable guy out there. I've had 3 pest control companies, just like I've had 3 SEO companies, and nobody's really done it. And I see what you've done, and that's how I get those big clients, especially with my ornamentals. So
yeah, then put those videos on a landing page.
Right.
Get it off the blog.
In other words, let that be a separate revenue producing center off of the blog versus trying to mix it in with my page. which was the
Yeah, yeah,
original
like-
question I had when I first built the site. This is the third revision of the site, which still looks terrible. The other one actually really great, except it tanked it. But my original question, should I have a blog separate or should I have a website together? And the answer was both.
Yeah.
Just have them together.
Well, what you want is like, let's say you go, I was watching your video, put your video on your pest control page, put your video on your blog because it works, right? But then redirect them and like, go for more information about the pest control company or whatever, direct them back to that, right? So that your main website acts as a home service company.
Right.
Leave and keep your information on there, because I'm not saying that like your blog posts and stuff like that aren't going to generate revenue. But when you look at like the volume of keywords that are showing up, like what is that percentage of actual people pulling that trigger? Right. Because you got to think like a lot of this is nationwide.
Yeah.
Like Celsius herbicide, that's just not local to your area. That's nationwide.
Right. Yeah. And so that's one of the reasons that when we first started blogging is what I started doing, literally.
Yeah.
I was getting all my clients through my blog. So I said, oh, great.
But that was what? That was back in the day when blogging was
2018,
amazing.
2014.
Right.
So now everything is let's redo local. So the whole thing, what worked then to get me all this business, which still does. And the reason I don't mess with it too much and is because it's still producing on its own without me having to do any additional work. And I have to basically, I understand what you're saying and I 100% agree with you. I just got to get my guy to do it or somebody else to do it or me do it. But, the last time I said, what is it? Oh, well, we got to create all the pages. They all suck. And I'm like, but they're ranking. How can they suck?
Well, they're ranking for their own rights, right? Like that's the biggest thing is like they are ranking, but your biggest complaint, Franklin, it's not about your blog is doing well or whatever. That's not what's your biggest complaint on this. It's about your service side.
Right.
That's right. That's what you get pissed off at the end of the day.
Right.
Right. So, again, I don't know how in depth, that they want to, or give you the why that this needs to be done. Right.
Yeah. So what we need to do is, because here is the other question that I had for you. We discussed, since I get so much business from the Hispanic market, and I want to automate more of that to where it's more of an automated service where they fill out the form, I get the lead form, I send them the quote, they either buy or they don't. And I'll even if I could go with like, perfect follow-up kind of deal where it's automated AI kind of thing. The only problem I have with the Spanish site doing with like an ES or an MX is that I actually have a resident.
I don't want anyone to buy anything if you haven't bought it. Okay.
Yeah.
So don't say that. I know what you're getting at. Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, but that's, cause they are expecting to go there. I mean, so if you look at other people's websites, that's what you'll see, right? Again, you're dividing on the main hub, you're dividing the two cultures, right?
Yeah.
So you're dependent on one culture to rank on the same domain. You're providing, this other to rank on the same domain, and you're still splitting that. At the end of the day, you're still splitting that, right? So you gotta, so it takes like a lot of pruning to get.
Nobody's understood it because I've asked. No, it says we can't rank for Spanish. It says, what are you talking about? I rank for it. And so why can't we just, because they don't know how to do Spanish SEO because they don't write in Spanish or English. I said, I can write the content for it. You just got to get the design right. And then, so what you're saying is we need a separate website for this one. The problem is getting an ES or an MX URL. I have to actually be a resident of those company. I have to rank it with a .com with a Spanish name in it.
Right, but what it is, it's a little. So we can, and we'll get to that later,
Okay.
right? So
Got it. Okay.
that's not necessarily true. Okay.
Got it. Okay.
You have to show like, what the intents are for each one. Okay.
Got it.
Now with your blog, what you want to do is you want to look at like, okay, what blog posts are generating the traffic that, and creating revenue, same thing, right? So, so you don't have to build out like 300 pages all at once. Take your top 10 pages, the ones that are really, you'll be surprised of how out of it, like how many of the pages are actually generating something. Again, start with those.
Right. What's generating the traffic now that's legitimate transactional traffic, not informational.
Yeah. You want to take the both of both worlds and go like, this is home service, this is informational. Keep those things separate so that when people do land on your website, it doesn't go like, oh, this looks like some dude who wants to be famous on TikTok, writing about blogs and doing affiliate marketing, but you want people to come over here and like look and feel, go, this is an actual home service.
Yeah.
And then without looking at your Google Search Console and your Google Analytics, going, okay, what's the bounce rate? How are they navigating on your website? All of that stuff plays a part too. Like if they land on your homepage, where do they go from there? Where do they exit? Is it a hard drop? Is it a soft drop? Is it rage clicks? Who knows?
Right.
But all that stuff tells a story when you get down to it. So let's see. I wanted to go back to your overview real quick. Let's see. Hold on. Let's go to your pages. So, if you look at it, you go, okay, traffic, monthly traffic, which is 80% of the traffic, is how to do those big cockroaches. How do those big cockroaches get in my house? Okay. I mean, so that's a blog post, right? So that's good traffic. So you're hoping to sell NIBAN, Max Force, glue boards, whatever.
Actually, I'm looking at it from that particular view is our exclusion business. And sealing and, getting that kind of client to understand you got to do the exclusion, you got to do the sealing, because that's 90% of the problems we have in South Florida with the homes and how they're getting in. So then
put that on a landing page. Like, put it, that belongs like on a landing page. So what we have here is, so when I look at domains, I look at like the levels, right? So your main hub, naturalpest.com, that's your level 1. Okay. And then these are your level 2. It's like all these up here. And then your level 3s come down below.
Got it.
Yeah, like right here. Like, I mean, that if you're going to talk about like cockroach stuff, that should be right here, underneath here, right? So you got like level 1, level 2, trickles down to level 3. That is how it should be moving. Right. But it goes.
I kind of did that same thing with this. I did it with the Spanish because I started messing with it. You can see where the Spanish, those are my top level domains with top ranking, and those are the top problems that we get. So
there is that sexy beast.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, that shirt's yellow. All right.
And that's what's driving in that, right now, the majority of those, those forms being filled out and with the client.
So are you doing like English videos and Spanish videos too?
Yeah. I do them bilingual.
So like this right here, like this is what helps get you that other website, right? So they click that, like that's an option.
And that's going to go over to the new website.
Correct. Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this before I know I'm going to jump ahead of your thought process there. If I move all this other content, and how do we get it so it's not recognized as duplicate content or like he stole it from somebody because it was already ranking? Can we just do that and put all those pages on a new site with just instantly do that?
Yeah, well, it will. There's a lot of cleanup work on here to go like disavow it or to go it's here, right? So like when we create like let's say forwarding, right? It's no longer here, but we forward it over to another page so that it knows where to go. And then it will naturally start training itself to go, okay, it's going to this domain now. You got to think like a couple of things. One, Google uses gas to crawl websites. And when the websites are long and there's no offshoots anywhere, it's going to go, I don't know where to go. I'm just going to kind of back away out of here and just disregard everything else. Right. That's why like a lot of people have indexing issues, because essentially you didn't build out a map for Google to go, how do I crawl this website that makes sense? Right. And so that I, as a Google or as a search engine, can take users and bring them to exactly to the right spot. Right. Okay. So if there's not even like a navigation, I mean, that's going to play a major role. So that's why, like, when I look at something like this and people are like, I want to do your SEO, I go, I have to rebuild, because at the end of the day, what we have is we have a big puzzle, and maybe it's got all its pieces. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know, but I don't even have a picture really to look at it. So what am I doing is I'm trying to find where those pieces are and create that puzzle myself. Right. And again, like, that serves you no justice when if a company says, an SEO company says, we'll come in and we'll fix this. There's no way. There is no way. Right. It's like going, okay, I'm going to take everything out of the kitchen. I want you to place everything back where it belongs. They're going to place things where they think it belongs, but it might not necessarily flow. But you got to think, like, all that labor that goes into fixing like 300 pages. Right. That's a lot. Not only that, like, it affects the domain, it affects that hierarchy, all of that stuff. So then it's like, you got all this back end work that you got to take care of. And it takes, it will take, you won't, there's no way. Like, I look at this, I go, there's no way if I took this, will I get this thing organized within a year? There's no way. It's just too much. I calculated just fixing that was like 2,000 hours of man work. Yeah, I didn't calculate it. I just look at it and go, nope. Yeah, I was calculating like, yeah. And it's not the best thing. It's not, like, I do, I have to like disclose I have the worst like bedside manners, but sometimes I just got to cut to the chase and go, like, right. It's not going to happen. So, yeah. And just be real. I mean, with them. I mean, at the end, nobody wants to hear it, but it's like, every time I've catered to like a request from like a customer, it's bit me in the butt, It always does. And I knew, like, we shouldn't do something like this. I said we shouldn't do something like this, but in the end, it bites me right in the backside. And I'm like, I said this, I said it, and part is I should have been more firm about some of the things. Right. And I shouldn't have, sometimes men intimidate me, it's like, I can't grow a cool beard like you. And so, like, I'm like, oh, yeah, I'll do it. But I mean, but I always go, like, if I do it, I go, if I cater to what you're doing, I go, then you can't really hold me accountable, because I'm doing what you're asking me to do. And it still bites me in the butt. And I'm like going, I told you, you couldn't hold me accountable because I didn't want to do this in the first place. So then it's almost like going, I just got to be a complete ass. Yeah. No, I get it. I had that hard conversation with the original SEO company. I said, look, guys, I did this. I realized this is wrong. Misspelled. Whoops. Well, that's not unusual for me. But when I had the conversation, I said, with the salesperson, I said, look, this is where it is. This is what we need to do. I've got 300 pages that we need to move. If you want to build a new site, that's great. I don't care. What is it going to cost? And I said, look, you can't do it for the price you're telling me. Oh yeah, we can do it. We can do it. So I said, all right, do it. Then they come back to me and says, well, we can't do it because this and this is wrong. But we had this conversation ad nauseum for 2 months before I signed up with them. And I told them, I said, you can't do it unless you've got some crazy software that I don't know about that can automatically rewrite all these pages and pull it over. It can't be done. And then they're kind of, well, it's going to be $8,000 more to rewrite all the pages. I'm like, okay, here it is. I knew it wasn't going to be, I didn't believe you, but fine. Here's another $8,000. And 3 months later, I said, are you ready to go live? Yeah, we're ready to go live.
Is it going to take a dump? No, it'll be just fine. Man, it took a dump for a month, for 2 months. It would not come back up. No, I would get like no traffic. My calls were dead. I said, I paid you 10 grand, but at least I was getting 100 and something calls a month and producing, 5, 6, 7, 8,000 a month in revenue.
Yeah, no. Yeah. I mean, well, it's,
And especially when I call you and I tell you, listen, we're bleeding. It's the middle of this pandemic. We need to do something. Just make sure that what you're going to do works. And, don't just do it. And like, oh, absolutely. We'll get you ranked. It'll be 30 days. We were 4 months into this and still no site.
30 days.
But wait, to get the site done and get it all built and get it all transferred over. And I said, in the meantime, let's run ads. No, we don't want to run ads because your site isn't nice and this and that. I said, let's figure out we run something to get the business up while we wait. And I was willing to put the money in while we wait.
Yeah.
No, we don't want to do that. We want to do this. And it'll be another, and then 3-4 months later, and it still isn't built.
There's a couple of things with that. One,
all right, let's look at it.
No. When you say like, you go, well, the 30 days, there's no metrics really to go, it's going to be in 30 days. Where that comes from, I do not know. The only thing I know is like when you start putting things out there, you start reading the data itself, and the data will tell you like things that you're missing or things, I can look at what your competitors are doing. There's Native.
Yeah.
Hey, look at that.
Is he on here? Hold on. Luke is on here.
Like, see, I got his card right here.
Yeah, Luke.
I was supposed to call him, but then I saw his website and I got very intimidated.
Yeah, he was like writing. He went blog crazy. We were talking forever. We do. He calls me once a week. At least we talk on text. And like, dude, all of a sudden it's like, how do you do all the blogging? And I said, this is how I do blogging. And then he started. And then he's like, but he spends a crap load on AdWords and marketing and lead gen, not just the blog. So nobody would think that that's from there.
Right. Now,
yes.
This stuff right here, like all this software is, none of the software is cheap. I mean, it's like, it's expensive. I mean,
yeah, I know. I spend now about $300 a month just tracking it.
I wish that we spent about $300 a month. We
just tracking it.
Yeah, we spend way more than that.
Because it's the only way I know that something didn't get screwed up. Now I got to keep an eye on it.
Well, you got to definitely do that. I don't know why this is taking forever, but yeah. So I can kind of look at like, what your competitors are doing, what you're missing. I can look, at so many things, right, to help kind of build that keyword. And so this is what we look at. Now we can measure you with other ones to see what are some of the things that you're missing, what are some of the things that they are doing better, and not duplicate it, but go in and make yours better, right?
Right.
Or fight for like SERPs or whatever.
It's competitive. It's literally hand-to-hand combat.
It is competitive. It really, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of holes that people miss.
Right.
So, we fight for lots of things like rich snippets is one of the things that we fight for, because then that expedites your stuff right up on the top. Those things are really hard to get. So when Google puts you there, you're like, badass. That's good. We look at images too. Like if images are ranking, we're on the right path. And at the end of the day, like, again, as a marketer like myself, if someone goes, they want the phone to ring, and we had a guy recently that was like, I just need the phone to ring, nothing's working. And I'm like, brother, I go, SEO is just not your thing right now, right? I go, because that's an investment, that's going to take time. However, you can go and let's look at your AdWords campaign that's already struggling and see what can be redone, and then let's invest money in that, right? I would love to have that money up front, like all that money. But at the end of the day, again, being a good steward of people's finances, that's not the best move, like for that client. He needed the phone to ring.
Right.
Not necessarily, and so he's at a limited budget. So the only thing I could do is just go, if we do the SEO, you're not going to be happy with me. I'm just going to be another guy, online. And, my reputation means everything to me. And then the other thing is going, but I know and this is what's sad, right? It's like, I know that I can't really just send you anywhere because people are going to promise you things. I mean, I see it all over. That's why I send you some of those screenshots. I'm like, these guys who go, oh, I'm a marketing guy, or I'll PM you very secret. I like that always, and I just try not to comment and go like, oh yeah, use me. But when I see sent you a PM, what are they doing? They're doing things like under the table. It's already shady. If you really was building a name for yourself, out there, interact, give value out there, right? But don't do it behind closed doors, or don't promote yourself and then have your sneezers, like fake.
Yeah.
Oh my God, fake people.
Yeah.
That's the last screenshot. I'm like,
yeah. I mean, all I got to do is pop in his domain, and I know he's full of crap.
oh yeah.
I mean,
you made that post, and I'm like, where's my props, bro?
Yeah.
Because you look at it, you go, you're not a dude. I see the company you own. It's like, it's bad, right?
Right. But the problem is nobody knows. This is always the argument. Nobody knows what the heck. Even now, you showed all the data. There's still brothers are going to watch me and say, I don't know what the hell he just said, because this SEO world is like discussing IPM for the first time with a newbie who just started, and he has no clue what I'm talking about. He's looking at me like I got a fourth eye.
Yeah. So essentially, right? Like same thing. Like when you have ants in Florida, like how do you treat those ants, Franklin? And I'll tell you how we treated ants.
Here in Florida,
mm-hmm.
I treat, most of the time, it depends. I've got 7 species. So if I have
Argentine ants. How do you treat Argentine ants? Like if someone's
I don't have Argentine ants in Miami.
Odorous house ants.
The closest thing we have to odorous house ant would be the ghost ants.
Okay. Yeah.
It's the same. It's in the same genus.
Ants are coming in the kitchen. Like, what do you do?
I treat the outside exclusively right now for that ant with fipronil. Treat everything: soffits, eaves, gutters, windows, perimeter, and then indoor. I'm just going to find that trail and bait that trail with either a station that we create, and that's it. And then I'm going to follow that up in a week.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you how I did ants and how we did ants, right? And this is going to give you a good insight of how I do SEO. SEO is very like integrated pest management for me, right?
Yep.
So, it's the same way. You spray, drop bait, do all that stuff. Okay, we have an ant issue. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to drop Niban around someone's house.
Right.
We're going to start sweeping down the cobwebs, whatever. If there's ants in the kitchen, we're going to drop, if we find the ant trail, we're going to drop bait on one end of the ant trail, bait on the other end of the ant trail. And then we're going to do our sweeping on the cobwebs, drop in a slow release granule, treating the interior of the house. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come back outside. And what are we going to find? We're going to find ants. And we're going to see these little white specks go boop, 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 boop. Because why? Because the ants fell Niban, right? So what do you think they're doing now? They're taking me direction of where their nest is, right? They're not going to take the Niban away from their nest. They're going to take their Niban towards their nest, right? So then all the guys, they're equipped with rakes, right? So they're walking around with their rakes and they're pulling back pine straw mulch, whatever. They're tipping over flower pots or sticking a flathead screwdriver inside the pots underneath, just to make sure there's no ants like nesting inside of it.
Right.
And then we go, all right, well, we're finding, and then what we find is we find massive ant nests, right? So we treat that nest like directly, get those things knocked out right away. Then we take our dust and we're kind of dusting between like deck boards and things like that. And guess what happens? As soon as that dust hits, they explode again. And then they show where they are. And we're like, all right, boom, we're going to target that bad boy as well. Knock those things out. Go inside. Right. All of a sudden we got the 2 drops of, we see got the 2 drops of Nyban, and what happens? Everything in the middle slows down. This end stops. There's nothing on here, and everything is over at this bait. What's that telling me? And everything is coming this way. Now I know the problem's over on that end of the house.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
Then we go and we target that, and then we do our regular pest control service. And this is all natural, by the way, guys. And then we go, we will see you in 2 weeks. Ants made us look great. Why? Because we charged the proper price to do the treatment and do the treatment right. Instead of using Nyban as a pesticide or using dust as a pesticide, that's its second part of it. We used it as a tool, right?
Right.
So why? Because we want to make sure that we're killing those ants, right? We, especially like, if, you know, I can't tell you how many times, oh man, it's been like years. Like we've had so many pest control companies, they can never get rid of them. I don't know how you, or times where people go,
Right.
oh yeah, I forgot we had ants. You're like, what are you talking about? You were like eaten up with ants,
Right.
right? But we took IPM and we took it seriously, right? That was like our niche. That's why we charge the way we charge, because all of that stuff takes time. Like if we're going to do a treatment, that treatment has to be very specific in eliminating the current problem and then addressing the preventative solutions after, right? And that's how we did it. And that's the same way that we do SEO. We just don't throw content out there like the granule, the Nyban, the sweeping, and go, see you in 3 months. Why? Because we know it's not going to work.
Right.
Right. We have ants as well. Ants are like crazy here. Now, the cool thing is like you get to discover lots of new things like that, that nobody really teaches you. Like basically IPM, like getting the rake and doing the knife, that was all self-discovery.
Right.
You know, this wasn't, someone didn't tell me this. Like, you know, like the little black cases that people get, you know, like that the plants come in.
Right.
You know, so I was at a customer's house and I was like, oh, they're all going into this case and there's like 12 of them or 13 of them like stacked, right? And then when I like, you know, and it's sitting out in the sun, but every single level had ants in it. It was the craziest thing, but they were like all different, right? It was like small eggs and then like the larva was a little bit bigger and the larva was like really, and then it got really big.
Right.
Like, and they were like, it was like this hospital, like nursing ward. And it was like every stage was there, but they were just all on different levels. And it was, but it was massive. And that was self-discovery, right? So what did that tell me? I go, now I need to start looking at like vinyl siding. Right. You know, I need to start looking at like what's under downspouts, you know, the splash guards, right? And what will we find on it? Oh, ants every single time. But all of that self-discovery, Nyban, I was like, I just threw it out and I go, hey, look,
right.
And pick that up. That's cool. That's working. And I go, whoa, well, hold on. Where are they taking it? You know? And then when I found where they were taking it, I was like, holy crap, I've figured out how to treat ants effectively. It's the same thing with SEO, right? Right. There's data out there online, right? But at the end of the day, that data is just like what it is with IPM. It's like, it's all encompassing, but you still, there's still self-discovery, right? That comes with it. And that is what I spend majority of my time doing, is like trying to find holes where I can expedite people's things. So there are times like if John, you know, and John writes good content, and I will come in and I go, I think I could tweak this and make this a little bit better. And we do. And then all of a sudden we see a 10% increase. Right. You know, because at the end of the day, SEO is search engine optimization. It's not about dropping pages all the time. It's about optimizing the pages, moving things around to make a better experience or to make Google be able to navigate that page correctly. Right. So, you know, when you post those videos and say, oh, you know, I was watching your video and stuff, put those on your landing page, but make that process and tell that story all the way through so that Google like moves through and trickles down through that one page. Like, I don't put a ton of content on people's pages. I tuck it away. Not really. I tuck it down on the bottom mostly. Why? Because I know, I really shouldn't say this because this takes away. I don't want to give my competitors all the tools.
Right.
No, but what you're doing is, we know that when people are coming on, what are they doing? They're looking for a service. They're going to pull an action right away, right?
Right.
Either they're going to call, maybe they're going to text, maybe they're going to fill out a form. Put it on a platter for them and let them take it. Don't let them look for it. You know,
Right.
and why? Because it's like, people are like, just really wanted a phone number. How
Right.
hard is this, right? And what do? They back out because people are impatient. At the end of the day, people are impatient. They have a really small attention span. You know, so it's like everything changes. And so the way people watch TV is different than the way people watch TV 5 years ago. Nobody wants to invest in a long storyline. They want to be invested in a storyline. That's why murder mystery TV shows and movies are calling it. It's going to be big, but murder mysteries, you know, the like Clue and Only Murders in the Building and Knives Out. There's going to be a new trend because people want to be a part of that now. Right? Where before that the watching trend and the TV shows that people were watching were like post-apocalyptic, you know what I'm talking about? Zombies, end of the world disaster movies, right? That was big. That was really big, but it's changing because people can't stay in that tense, or they go, I don't know where it's going for. Now, the great thing about like murder mystery is that it's got a beginning, middle, and it's got an end. And then there'll be a new mystery next year. Remember before it was like medical shows and police dramas and stuff, but it was a beginning, middle, and end in one episode. And it was the same format over and over. And then the zombie stuff came in and it's like, okay, it's a beginning, middle, and end at every scene. And what do? They put you on a freaking cliffhanger at the end of the season. You're like, God almighty, I'm not gotta wait whatever 6 months for it, and I gotta reinvest my time in it. And now it's like, well, there's a beginning, middle, end on the seasons. You know, so it's like, all these trends play a massive part. Subscription trends play a massive part. How people interact with the website plays a massive part. You know, can people access all your data by just using one phone if they're on your pest control page? And if they can't, well, you've changed the dynamics for them. It's just easier to go back out. Right. You notice how like Google, even like recently, like iPhone title bar and that backup space was on top. Now it's on the bottom. Why? Because everybody holds a phone with like one hand, you know, and so if they can access it right there in that thumb zone. So even like Apple has figured that out and has made those changes. And people go, I hate it. Well, yeah, it was a big change. I hated it too, but I completely understood why. Right? There was a very significant purpose. They just didn't do it just to change things to make themselves stand out. They did it because that is what the data showed them.
Right.
If people aren't, you know, your SEO company ain't spending like $8,000 a month on software, you know, then I mean, they're
and this is just a hard reality of how complex this has gotten for somebody to keep up with it. And then the amount of pest control companies that are solo operated, the majority of people listen to me. I know they're solo operators. I got a couple of guys that are listening to me, but they're listening to me to see what I'm going to say next, because they're running 10, 12, you know, 1, 2 million and up companies. They, you know, some of them do need this because their website's bad too. And, you know, they're wanting to do certain things, but they're getting their money because of the pay-per-click that they can spend. In other words, door to door. They're not relying on the website to actually generate revenue through traffic like I have.
No, yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so if somebody's going door to door, they built a business, that doesn't transfer to online. That's great. You built a company doing that, right? There's a very significant purpose for that. But don't mislead and say that you're marketing experts, you're door to door experts. I would never ever go door to door. Like, it gives me anxiety, right? Going up to random people and then trying to have conversations with this to me, it's just, you know, if you ever try to do door to door in Miami
when you have 95% humidity and 95% degree, 95 degrees outside, you want to die. My techs can't even make it through the day.
They have segues.
Yeah, I know, right?
But,
but I
then
had
you
to
got
look. I hired a door-to-door last year. He made it through 15 doors in a neighborhood before they called the cops.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even being belligerent. Nice guy, would knock on doors. Cop had him sitting on a corner. I had to call, and bro, I just got like, pulled over, and I'm sitting here on the curb because I was knocking doors in a rich neighborhood. I mean, that's just, nobody puts up with it. I got 2 gates in my neighborhood. If you want to get to me,
Yeah.
you got to get through the main gate, and then you have to get through another gate to get to my house. You can't get in here.
I pay to live in this neighborhood, not to be disrupted. But
Exactly. And that's where everybody's moving into in Miami. So door to door, that's why there's not that many door to door companies. You see Aptiv and all these guys, they're doing a ton of pay-per-click because you just can't do door to door.
Well, yeah. And that's the other thing is like, you got like, yeah. So like, again, it's like, what's that market? Door to door, again, door to door works, but also lead generation works.
Yeah.
Right. So you got people who built companies on lead generation.
Right.
But it still doesn't, you go, wow, I did a lot of sales or whatever, doesn't make you necessarily a marketing expert either.
Right.
AdWords, that's great. There's all that data there, but guess what? Like AdWords is changing now, man. People are going to get caught with their pants around their ankles again. And they'll be like, I don't know what's going on. But then you got like lead generation company, they're paying their own ads, and then they're paying lead generations, which means they're paying for the click twice because they got, the lead gen charge them this much money for clicks. And then the lead gen pays this much money for clicks so that they can actually turn a profit, Right. And so that is a freaking hot mess, right?
And look, everybody is falling, everybody in the business, and every business, especially if they're inexperienced in sales, they're inexperienced in marketing, are falling for I can get you clients so you don't have to do any work.
Yeah.
And the reality is I got to be a salesman every day. When that phone rings, I got to convert them. I got to do the work. I'm getting what I get because I put in all this work, because nobody could do it for me. And the ones that said they couldn't pull it off. I couldn't afford $25 a click when I'm selling, $159 initials at that time.
No, because let's say 1 out of 10 who click on it, pull the trigger and make an action on your website, you're already in the hole.
I mean, when I went to Yelp and all these guys, we can get you because the data shows that you're in a buying market. Yeah, but I'm in a Hispanic market selling organic, and I'm not competing with the $165 guy. And I would spend $800 a month in ads. It's costing me $250 to get a qualified lead. I can't sustain it as a small guy. So all these guys are peddling what people want to hear, which is we're going to get you customers with very little effort and very, and they're falling for it every single time. You can't do SEO for $299 a month and get you to rank.
No.
It's not going to be the reality. It's all these guys saying, I pay my guy $250, and I look and he's got no traffic, literally nothing. 12 clicks a month is what he has on his side. Says you might as well put that into something else.
Yeah. No, it's, hey, it's the same as like people who could do pest control for $35.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that they can, like, we have a pest control company that they charge $389 or maybe $289. Let me see, I can't remember what it is. But it's either $389 or $289. And you get pest control and you get termite bait stations. Now, the thing is $289 is dirt cheap. And if they're going out 4 times a year, well, let's say that they have a service call, right? So that's going to take away from their dollars. And let's say that like some of those bait stations, termite bait stations, there's 4 of them that are active. What is that? Like $80 in product for right there, just in the termite bait stations. It's like, how do you make money? You got to cut corners somewhere for them to kind of the fund. And it's the same thing. Like at $299, it's like they can't afford this software. Like I'm limited to like I'm limited on SpyFu to like a certain amount of customers, like,
Right.
and then I have to pay additional for every single customer that comes on.
Right.
So like every single month, like our bill just keeps and I'm like, God, this is the most expensive, pieces of software I've ever purchased. Some
Right.
software only lets you have 3 max, and then you pay for additional ones. Everyone's out to make money, but I can't make decisions without the software.
Right.
Right. So, so for companies to go like 299, there's no way they're just putting things out there and hope it sticks, or
you can't do an hour's worth of work a month for $2.99.
Sometimes it takes me 3 days to drop a page because it's like I'm constantly moving it around, or just like testing the waters and pulling the data and then dropping some more and pulling the data and dropping more and so putting some data so that I can see, and I go, oh, I'm on the right path. Like it's very rare that I drop like a page one and done.
Right.
No, I mean, really, there's not. I mean, I touch everything. So yeah. So I mean, so like I'm always touching pages. Like I just can't move away from it because it can always be better.
Right. And the problem is having somebody that says, the SEO company is the same as the pest control company that says, I just want to rack up contracts. I don't care if I'm profitable.
That's Google ads, and that's door to door.
Yeah. And so so the guy is, because you know what, if I can get 100 clients on board at $2.99 a month, I'm really not doing anything. They're not going to know I'm not doing anything, but I'm making, $30,000 a month. And I just got to keep replacing them with people that drop off because the churn rate is so high.
Yeah.
But it's the equivalent of, I'm not going to go do any, like I was telling the SEO guy the other day, it's like, you're not doing any pest control. You charge me $400 for the year, $500 for the year, but you're only going to show up at my house when I call you that I have a problem, because you know that 40% of the time I'm not going to. It's less with SEO because the guy doesn't even know what he's looking. He'll pay for a whole year not to get any traffic. And we've had conversations with people, that hired a guy, we're paying him $2,000 a month and getting no traffic.
Yeah.
Okay. And so it's like you're paying $2,000 a month, and the guy who's running the company, I'm busy, I'm running around, I don't have time to go look at it. How come and I spent $24,000 and I didn't get any calls? Well, it's just, you got to do more now. You got to do this, and it's like always the story.
Yeah. Yeah. There are like things happening, I mean, that are out of your control, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is at the end of the day, a lot of those things that people are saying is like, you've heard it over again.
Yeah.
Over again. So you're like, it's you, it was the previous guy, I mean, even like me, we launched a company or a website, and we're like, all right, it's good, we're ranking, and then all of a sudden all these random keywords start showing up, like menus and like restaurant menus and like parks and like rodeo, and I'm like, what the crap? But these were things that what happened was the website just wasn't even linked up right. A lot of the things weren't even indexed, and so once we linked up a good solid website and developed their hub, all of a sudden, like, their old data came alive.
Right.
Like, it came alive, which it wasn't before. It was just sitting there dormant. And they were like, oh, finally, there's connections everywhere.
Right.
And then all of a sudden this crap. So then it was like, oh, what happened? And so then it was like a lot of that, not dropping content, not dropping a blog post or anything. It was just weeks and weeks. Like, God, I mean, I must have been on it every single day for like 5-7 weeks or whatever. I mean, every single day, because I just obsessed with it, right?
Yeah.
And cleaning and cleaning and cleaning. And now we're at that point where it's like, okay, the calls dropped, which you go, that's a bad thing. Not necessarily, because the calls that dropped are the ones that were coming in prior from out of town. Right. Right. So even Google didn't even know where they were at, like,
right.
So like people from like Washington were calling, people from Texas were calling. And so now, even the calls dropped, which is great. The calls in the area are either the same or growing, but it reduced a lot of the garbage that the front office had to work with.
Right.
You
No,
know,
yeah,
in a sense,
yeah.
even
So
that
so they were
design-
getting, in my case, I've streamlined it so much that I already know, like when somebody calls me for out of town, all I do is Facebook post, hey, I got a lead from out of town, and
yeah,
and
yeah.
bless somebody with it, so and
Oh,
so
yeah, I see that too. And you have, wow, you know what? Because you have a lot then. So, but you guys, that takes time.
yeah.
At the end of the day,
Yeah.
that takes a lot of your
I'm looking at getting out of a lot of that, and focusing more on what I want to do. But a lot of the things that we were doing is like, okay, so if I decide to go franchise, whatever, here I am thinking as a crazy entrepreneur. Indulge me for a minute because you know where I'm going. That I'm thinking of 5 different things that we could do, and everything was working until it's no longer working because everything changed.
yeah.
Everything was working for me just fine. It still is. But if you're right, if I take all that garbage out into a blog and say, that's going to be, it's going to generate its own profit, and we just post there. Because if we just post and keep posting, which is like no effort, it keeps generating national leads or whatever. And then if I decide I'm going to franchise, I can pull from that and say, yeah, we're getting a lot of calls from this area in California. Maybe we should look at that or whatever.
Yeah.
But, I'm always, we're always all over the place thinking of, like I got a product that I'm creating, that I created for natural. It's been working, and I'm going to eventually register it, but I'm probably going to sell direct to retail because I don't even want to enter the pest control market selling to professionals. I just rather sell it to a homeowner because it's so much easier. Why go into the industry and try to go against the industry? So these are things that my brain is going like that, but just is still generating the calls. It's a 6-minute or a text where I know how to deal with that Hispanic client, where I'm not going to spend 20 minutes on the phone. I'm not going to go to that house and do an inspection. Like I said, all my big clients that I get come from the YouTube videos because I'm the only one doing them.
Right.
So I picked up, a house that's a millionaire singer's house on the beach, $15,000 a year in lawn and ornamental pest control. And that's the kind of clientele. That's why on the organics, I can do better on ornamentals. And this is why I get all those calls, even though it generates a bunch of crap. The way I looked at it is, I could care less. I only care for the 1% that's going to call me, because once I write that blog, it takes me 30, 40 minutes. It's ranking and it's getting me traffic. That's just my natural thinking.
Yeah.
You obviously are thinking in a hierarchy of how you would do it from an SEO perspective. And I'm thinking as a marketer saying, I just threw enough because I didn't have enough knowledge and nobody to do it. I just said, screw it. My way, I'm doing it wrong, but my way of doing it wrong has been working better than everybody's way of telling me they can do it right.
Yeah. Well, and keep in mind, I'm a marketer first. The SEO and stuff, came later, right? I mean, but I was I developed products, created, help build brands, and develop, strategies and stuff like that. So the SEO just, came later. I didn't know anything about SEO when I first started my company.
Right.
The one thing I did know was that nobody was doing natural pest control.
Right.
And I was like, I'm going to attack this market, one, because I want it. And two, this is going to be a great product to go in, or a service to go in on. And my first month out, and almost like every other week, I was increasing my rates until I found that market share to test it, because I didn't have it, right? So I started at $105 per application and got up to that 160 mark where people were going, and I was like, this is where we go from right here. And then it was just really, developing a program. You got to remember, like, I didn't get into a pest control company or create a pest control company because I worked for other companies.
Right.
And I was like, I could do this better.
Right.
I got into it because I saw an opportunity and did the stupid 2-year internship and got paid peanuts, and we sold our house, and bought a smaller house because I was like, I wasn't making what I was making before.
Right.
but we created a brand and then we built a business off of it. But it's like, and then the great thing about it is like, yeah, I was in the natural market. I had no competitors. And then the competitors I did have, they couldn't sell it. They couldn't talk the language.
Right.
They couldn't answer the questions that the consumer was asking, but this guy could, because
Right.
I did all that research.
Yeah, that's exactly how I did. I didn't come from the pest control industry. I came from working for a guy for 3 years and saying, this is all wrong. I don't want to do this, to create it. But I had to do all that work myself, figuring out how the heck do we control disease. Like I was just having a conversation with my distributor. I says, bro, we switched out to these 3 products to try them. And I got more disease on my lawn this year than anything, where for the last 10 years, we haven't, using these products that we were doing ourselves, making the mix ourselves. But these companies came in and said, oh, we have a better product. And I said, baloney, we're going back to making our own fertilizer blend.
Yeah.
Because it actually worked better for us than all the 3 brands that have come along that say they have an excellent product. They don't.
We had a manufacturer that made our blends for us, that according to what we wanted. But, and then the cool thing is, like with natural lawn care, you can't burn a lawn, is because it's not chemical, right? So when you burn a lawn, it's like chemical burn.
Right.
But not with like natural, right? So that, those were all like, again, like try and developing, learning.
Right.
I mean, I am not a landscape guy. I don't even cut my grass. I just don't like it. But by God, no one was doing natural lawn care, and I was getting into it. Why? To go ahead and now take us $160 a visit client to a $200 visit client.
That's where we're at now. I mean, I was doing analysis on our average lawn care client. We're at 253 a month.
Yeah, but like when I built my website, I built a very simple website, very white website. Not like white person website, but
right.
White space, and I had I photoshopped, put a dead road, put an orange behind it, which now has been taken so many times that everybody in the natural market use it. That's mine. I created that image. And then and the cool thing about that was that it was hard to build a website, but I got through it, and I had friends that helped me out and stuff. But what I noticed was that, again, blogging was good, but since I didn't have any competitors, it was like, everything was like skyrocketing. But not only that, you got to think like there was lots of big impacts that happened with it. Like, I would have something go, hey, you do like natural, right? And we go, yeah. And I go, we're so-and-so from this magazine. And I was like, I would love to talk to you about that. Then I started learning about backlinks. I was like, then I started going, hey, so you're going to like backlink to me, connect with me so that I have value there. Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then I even posted a video, or I didn't post it. I shared it with a client, and then she posted it online. But I did eHow videos. Right. And then also with that, it was like going, oh man, look at this. This is kind of a brand. I'm like speaking at like natural conferences and home service conferences and things like that. And so then I'm like, so like all of this was like, everything was learned. But again, that's marketing is right. If something picks you up and starts to carry you, like, on that boogie board, you just jump off, or you carry with that. And then you just start to learn and get better and better and better. And I was just talking to John, my business partner, and he, I was like, sent this thing out to the team going, hey, I need you to find what's really big and, with this specific bug. And, but there's something that really big, but then, I have to explain to him, like, this is what's really big, but then this is what can happen with like local media. And then from local media, this is what can happen with like, the bigger media companies that are around, because they're going to pick up that stuff. And how do I know that? Because anytime there was like the Chinaka outbreak or, whatever increase, we would post that, connect with local media, and then local media would go to a more metro Atlanta area.
Right.
And so then we were getting all that exposure, right? So again, like, following all these trends is massive. If you have a guy who's just dropping pages every single day, they're not looking at trends. They're not looking for opportunities because their
Right.
job at the end of the day is to be that baseboard jockey and then drop the granules and then go.
Yeah, I was just having this conversation with Eric, my video guy, because he's the one that produces all my videos, edits and puts them out, uploads them, and tries to SEO. And I'm trying to teach him SEO. At the end of the day, he's more creative. He's a musician. He's, you know, a video editor. And I said, you know, we have to be more intentional about somebody.
Lion
Huh?
connecting to audio.
Oh, somebody's trying to hold on. I think he's going to, because I shared this with Eric and he was going to go do a class.
Oh,
And then I think maybe he's due. Let me see. Has he messaged me that he has to use it?
man, I better not see someone nude on here.
No, he's had that issue before too. Hold on a second. Let me see if he's. Hold on. Hey, let me just message him, and we'll probably be off of here soon.
I'd
Anyway.
like to give a shout out to my wife. Thank you for dealing with me. Well, I need an award.
Let me see where he's at. Bro, where did Eric go? Oh, here he
I
goes.
want to thank you, my wife, my kids, John, Garrett, Josh Alpert, Paul Bello. Thank you for this. Yellow Submarine from the Beatles. I couldn't do it without you. Thank you. God bless.
Oh, hold on a second. Hold on a second. I gotta go in. Hold on a second. Don't leave. I got this one. Special edition. This is gonna be worth money right here.
Oh, I drew that.
Yeah, you drew that for me when we were at the Paul Bello conference. So
Yeah.
I got it on my shelf. I got to frame it, but I put it in my shelf and I have it up there. Like people, what the heck is that? That's me, man.
Yeah.
Pete wrote that.
Yeah, I don't have any art right here. It's all downstairs, but yeah. So
Yeah, because you're a graphic artist too. I mean, you do animations or you do illustrations.
Oh man. So I know it's gonna sound really cool. Okay, but I'm just put a disclaimer out there. So I did work for like DC, Warner Brothers stuff. And everyone goes, oh, it's really cool. I didn't get to do comic books. I did a lot of line drawing for coloring books for like Harry Potter, Imaginext, cartoon sets, you know, Little Justice League. Did a lot of art for that.
Right.
And the one little comic books that I did do, they never used my name because I have a stupid. No, I don't have a stupid name, but my last name is just really hard.
Right.
So you got to keep all that stuff really simple, and it looks like those letters don't belong next to one another.
Right.
So, and I was like, that's fine. I don't care. I don't want my name on that because I got big things ahead of me. I'm going to do comic books. No, and that never happened. So,
yeah, I got somebody who's being really persistent. I think he might have to go to a class, and I didn't realize. I didn't ask him.
oh no worries.
Let's see if I can remove that. No, I don't want to do that to her. Yeah. Let's see if I can remove that.
I hear someone. Who is that?
That's me. We're getting a feedback or something on an echo. Put in a waiting room. Here we go. I put her in a waiting room. That's me. We're getting a feedback or something on an echo.
That's not me.
It's a ghost, bro. We got well, there's a ghost in the system.
Wait, what?
But it's a ghost, bro. There's a ghost in the system.
Oh, I see what I'm doing. I was looking at your. Hold on, let me get out there. How's that?
Oh, you were in Facebook.
Yeah. I was looking. I was answering some questions. I wasn't answering questions. I was looking at some of the questions.
Yeah. Some people had some stuff.
And then I was like, "Who's Jason?" And he called me a big old fuck. But then I realized he wasn't talking about me.
A lot of guys on there just being silly today, but bro, Pete,
no, he's funny. He's a cool dude. So.
Okay, I don't know why I'm connecting. Oh, Eric is trying to connect. Hold on a second. I'm gonna put you in a waiting room, and I think we're gonna have to get out because he's getting ready for a class.
Yeah. No worries.
He didn't message me. He's trying to log on my account because we share it. 4 hours. No. Yeah. Okay.
It's fine. Yeah. I mean, because there's still a lot to go, right? So I got the notes down as far as like what your next steps are, and that's
Yeah.
what we work on. So
Yeah, and we'll do that, and then I'll start working on that right away, and then we'll go from there and start, doing the things that we need to do.
yep, right on,
So,
man.
and then we'll hook up sometime in the future when at least there's a better report to give than the one I got. My report card, you got an F.
Here's the cool thing though. You get to see like, especially when you manage that data, you get to see the impact certain things make,
Right.
And then it really helps verify that that you're going in the right direction.
Right.
Instead of just out there, driving blind. Like I see a lot of SEO companies, like, I went to Pest World. I see them open up SEM Rush. I'm like, that's great because it is a good sales tool to audit.
Right.
It just doesn't transition. I didn't drop an SEO company name, did I?
No.
No. Okay, good. One of the companies, then I go, but if you're utilizing that just for audit, I can tell you that you're not using it for SEO purposes once the customer's there.
Right.
Because if they were, they would identify that, holy crap, how are we selling bears and alligator services in Atlanta, Georgia? Because you just cut and paste and threw it on someone's website without even thinking about like, if that's the correct customer. And I see that all the time.
Right.
So-
Yeah, no, I usually somebody will pull that audit and send it to me. I says, I understand. I got all these problems.
So like, I'm going to share my screen one more time and end on this on something funny. Okay.
All right.
All right. Share. All right. You like see all these things right here?
Right.
These are all like companies that are using the same type of content.
Yes.
same picture.
I'm familiar with that blue shirt one.
Just, and it's the same guy, but it's a different color shirt. And they, it's like, this is cut and paste, and cut and paste is just irrelevant and it's not authentic. And then Google's like, throw it away.
I was pissed off about that. I was hired one of the companies to do, as we were talking before, to do my GMB, and they couldn't get the GMB and the NAP right after a year. And I said, and then they come to me and tell me your Yext isn't working right. I says, yeah, but all the ones on my Yext are actually right. The ones I need to fix, somebody, created them manually or whatever.
Yeah.
So
that's what it is. And if they're trying to do that manually, again, at the end of the day, it's like, use software. The software helps, man. Without software, it's like you're just.
I just finished sending one to my SEO guy. I'm saying, why do I have 9 wrong naps when you told me you were on it?
Well,
and,
yeah, like
and you were doing it,
like,
and you were doing it manually after 3 months. And I'm said, this is what I get pissed. I says, if I was doing it, I'm an amateur. You could say, yeah, your SEO sucks, but you're an amateur. I don't know. I'm running a pest control business.
Yeah.
I don't know. When I hire you to do it and you tell me I'm on it, I'm fixing it, and I still have 9 naps wrong. And says, why are you running Yext? I said, and why are you running Bright Local? And all upset at me. And I'm saying, yeah, the reason is, here it is. You're not doing it.
Well, because and that's the thing, right? So if you get Yext, you get Bright Local, you get whatever, they're all like fine-tuned. So then you might get duplicates.
Yeah.
Or you might get errors, right? So it's cannibalizing each other. And so you can't just,
And I canceled my Yext. I said, let me cancel it. And I canceled it so he can do it, so it wouldn't interfere with what he's doing on Bright Local. And I said, just handle it. But at the end of the day, I need a report at the end of the month.
Right.
For you to tell me what's fixed, what isn't, where do we need to go next? And then for 3 months, and then for 3 months, 4 months, I don't get a report. I have to go and do my own spy foo. I got it because I do it. I do my own SEM Rush. I do my Bright Local. I do Local Falcon. I'm paying for all this software to track my own SEO when I hire somebody to do it. That's what.
Right. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. So yeah, like those little things like Local Falcon, great. Google My Business tool to see what areas you're ranking in and where your competitors are. Perfect tools, right? But again, like how does a $300 a month company make money if they're using,
which I pay $300 a month for managing just mine.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. We drop a crap ton.
I mean, I pay $700 a year for Yext alone. I mean,
Wait, what? Oh no, yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Like if everything was just one software company, that software company would be making more money than I do per month. That's like how much money we spend on software.
Yeah.
So,
I'm going to get off because he is.
yeah, we got to
starting a
go.
class.
So
Thank you, bro. I appreciate
thank
this.
you.
And we'll just, hook up maybe whenever you're ready to do my follow-up on what
Yeah,
because, I mean, if I
I'll-
don't fix anything, it's useless to keep doing follow-ups on things that we're not fixing, but I need to figure out how we're going to fix it.
I'm here on the accountability end. So like, if you're like, you can't keep complaining if you're, if it's not
Of course,
getting
no,
done.
I get it. That's why I said, let's just do it so that everybody can see the real nightmares of what it is that I keep complaining about.
Yep. Right.
And
on.
at least it's out there. So, and hopefully we'll just meet in maybe a month or two whenever you're ready and tell me, or you got something new
this
that
stuff
we need to look at, and then do a podcast on that.
This setup will be easy. It's getting an index or saving everything and archiving it so that you can start making that transition.
Yep.
So
all right, brother. Thank you,
all right,
man.
bro. You take care, man.
Hope I'm going to Georgia soon and have a cigar.
Let's do it. We'll do it on the lake. We kind of have a thing called Smoke on the Water behind my house.
Cool beans.
So, all right. You take care.
Take care, bro.
Bye.
Bye.